Hi there. Welcome to our latest bonus chat. If you missed our podcast looking back at Ireland v South Africa, please be sure to check it out on Apple, Spotify, and all the other usual places. So, after reassembling following the Lions tour, Andy Farrell's Ireland finished November with 2 wins and 2 defeats, which leaves us with nothing to do but assess our standing as we look ahead to our opening Six Nations clash in Paris on Thursday. Yes, Thursday, February the 5th, 2026. Kino, you have chosen to title your assessment Character in the Carnage.
Yeah. This is kind of just a bit of a brief look about kind of where we after everything. I mean, what a tumultuous end to the autumns, but see where Ireland is now, kind of at the end of the four-game tour, because that's really what we wanted out of this. Is we said we won't know where we're at until we play the four games. Now we have, so we have to give it a shot. I suppose my take on it is that this is a passing grade, just a, kind of there and abouts, a passing grade. The Japan win was comfortable but a bit scrappy. Our attack was sharp in sequences, pretty passive defense early on. Wasn't great. I should probably cover the New Zealand loss first. Like we were physically competitive in that, but definitely exposed in the collisions and mole defense, and then just fell off completely and allowed them to run riot in their purple patch. We improved again into that Australia game. We functional, controlled, but again, we kind of lacked that killer edge in the 22, which is kind of a continuing concern, along with the line out had improved a bit at that point as well, but is still certainly in the back of my mind. And then the South African test, which was absolutely doolally, toe to toe slugfest, and absolutely a huge stress test of this Ireland side, depth, discipline, and kind of the resilience of our systems. I think across the four games, we kind of see some of what is, I think, shaping up to be Ireland's kind of new identity, which is a wrinkle on the previous. We're trying to add more of a counter-attacking ball in hand, heads up element. It's kind of not quite clicking yet. We still have fairly effective strike plays, but we haven't always had the platforms, certainly the line-out platforms to do them from effectively in the opposition 22s across the whole series. So, and it's also showed up pretty kind of clear issues around um power in the set piece, depth to bench currently, and probably yeah that attacking edge I was talking about. Um, we showed a lot of resilience in the South Africa game. I mean, that was great to see, and that was something that I'd kind of been missing was a bit of grit and determination from those first three games. So I mean, that was one of the things I was looking for. Kind of, that's probably what gets it over the line of passing grade for me. Our shapes mostly survived. Our defense shapes mostly survived. Our attacking shapes were kind of reasonably staying in shape as well, even down to 12 players on the pitch. So I mean, there's something to be said for that. Um, Looking where the squad depth is, I suppose I'm going to just give a very quick fly over. I mean, Porter and Furlong, they are world-class anchors. Had a bad day at the office against the best scrum in the world by a measure on Saturday. I suppose behind them, we still lack depth in that kind of tight five, carrying, scrummaging, heavy presence, kind of for the big, heavy build opposition fixtures. Paddy McCarthy, I really like him. I love his shape. He's got a lovely prop shape, with just that kind of barrel shape. And you got the head, and then it's like the kid's drawing of a person, whereas like, if they do the square version where it's the head and then straight down, and it's kind of from the shoulders all the way down to the ground. It's just one straight line each side. He's kind of that shape, which is just perfect for props. And he's wonderfully strict on himself, staying straight in the scrum. Very difficult under these circumstances, certainly, but I think he's got a lot of promise. And then you got, because I say Milne and Boyle on the loose head side as well. But you kind of very young, and you know how long it takes to develop props. So that is, you know. one or two injuries there, and we could have issues. Um, Locks tight five. Burn and Ryan are very good, but we need power locks. Is my kind of my wish for 2026. What I'm asking Santa for is more power locks. Get of international level. Big Joe, we did miss him horribly. We really, really did, and I want to see us bring Edwin Adogbo up into that level. I want to see him getting minutes, because we need options. You can't have just one player in any given position of a single role if you want to be able to build something around that and be able to rely on having someone to fulfill that role. Um, and I mean, like when the dog was fit, he's still he is really that's kind of same power role. So I would really like to see him come on. Back row, I mean, Doris remains our kind of he's only just back from injury and did fairly well. Maybe not vintage Doris, but have kind of moved between 7 and 8 as well. It was a hard ask, and to captain right back in from injury was a lot to ask of him. He is kind of our primary go-to heavy carrier from the back row, and can absolutely live that role. At the top level, Van der Fleer still has a carry that works at international level. Baird, delighted to see him kick on kind of toward the end of last season. He just absolutely kind of started kicking on hugely for Leinster, and then it's great to see that carry through to the green jersey as well. Um, but I want more destructive beef in that back row as well. I mean, maybe Gleeson long term is a good possibility there, but that's kind of I don't know if that's possible before the next World Cup, frankly. Halfbacks, I'm delighted we have two test level tens. I mean, they offer different things, but if you're going to have two test level tens, that's exactly what you want. You want them to be completely different, to offer different things and to be able to put different shapes on the pitch. And I hope we can build around that and kind of have almost the kind of hybrid game plan around the strengths and weaknesses of each of them respectively. And they both have strengths and weaknesses. But each of them are only getting better as time goes on as well. And I love it. It's great. Long may it continue. Gibson Park is still the heart of the team. Number 9. Casey didn't have the best autumn, on the whole, but like he'll come good. I think so. There are other good young options around the country. We seem to have plenty of scrum halves around the country at the moment. But again, whether or not you could bring any of them up to snuff by the World Cup in 2 years' time, I don't know. There's a limited opportunity to blood players at international level. In the centres, Henshaw and Ringrose still probably, well, or maybe Aki and Ringrose. It's kind of hard to tell. Henshaw and Aki have both kind of been on and off the boil. Um, but behind those three, the depth is relatively thin. McCluskey was amazing while he was
Mhm.
fit. He really, really
Absolutely.
was. I would actually have him first in the centres, come Six Nations if he's fit. Um, I like Osborne in this as a centres option as well. I think he's got the kind of the right, a good balanced power, footballing IQ, kicking option. Um, Probably a bit to learn still about defending that 13 channel, but I think he's a proper option that can play international rugby, and I think he could work there. Um, Back three, Mac Hansen at fullback is possibly my favorite thing about the Autumn Internationals. He's been great, and the fact that he played as well as he did with the hand injury that he famously gone into that game with, he did pretty well. Um, and he certainly showed in the Australia game what he can do in that playmaker role from 15, which gives us something different. Again, I love having options within the team in different positions than they maybe normally play, but that give us a different flavor of what we can then potentially do, because then it gives the coaches options as to it's like, well, what build are we going to go for this week? Are we going to build a little bit more second playmaker in at 15? Or are we going to go for a little bit more safety and comfort in someone like Keenan, and Tommy O'Brien on the wing? Like, he's test level winger, and he's quick, and he's good in the air, and he's tough. I mean, he took a battering, still kept going on Saturday. So fair play to him for continuing on with that. But yeah, like we brought on a couple of new players in the autumn, and we've kind of discovered the capability of players we already had to play in broader positions and different positions. Those are wins. Um, I think South Africa match as well showed us some of our resilience, showed us some of our ceilings. I think, we are in that top six still. Definitely, we're a top tier international side. But we're not the finished, polished article that we were in, say, 22, 23. Will we get back to that? I don't know. But this is the rebuild stage. We've lost a lot of leadership out of the group. There are young players coming in. We've got two very young out halves, kind of learning how to go, how to navigate the highways and byways of international rugby. I think we do need more depth, but I honestly think the autumn series kind of threw a lot of adversity our way. There's a lot of I think a lot of lessons were probably learned. There's a big checklist now that Andy has to go off and work on, and that hopefully we'll have some fixes in place by the time the Six Nations rolls around.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could look at it as if to say like this is maybe the start of Andy Farrell's tricky second album with Ireland because he
Yeah.
started so well, Grand Slam, and followed it up with the championship, and then he was in charge of the Lions tour, all that stuff, and that culminated in the series win, and that was great and all. But now it's all about the World Cup. I mean, the draw is taking place Wednesday week. We're going to find out who we're playing. I have this funny feeling we're going to end up playing Australia in the opening game of the whole tournament. But anyway, that's what we'll find out what's going to happen anyway, and we'll know what we're up against. But that's what we're building towards. I mean, yes, there's the Six Nations coming up. We've got France next, and that's huge. But there's two Six Nations and this new Nations Championship as well. It that's our matches leading up to that World Cup. And people say, why don't we bring on players? But we have brought on players. You've said it yourself. There's new players coming into the squad. I think Cormac Isachuku is another one who's very unlucky to miss out in that November. I think he would have featured, and I think he's got a big part to play. He's another one of those 5, 6 players who can really do a job, and I think he's another one who can just step into test level rugby and do really well once he's given the chance. And we have options in all these positions. I think we've only pinpointed like maybe 2 or 3 players who we really cannot do without. But it's so when you're in that kind of situation and you've got so many options, it's definitely more positive. It's a more positive outlook. So I suppose now it's just a case of them all going back to their provinces and fighting over between fans over who should be in and who should be out, and back to the usual thing.
Yeah, there's no getting away from that, is there?
No, not at all. But listen, it's something to look forward to anyway, because I mean with 2 defeats at any stage of a season, 2 defeats out of 4, it is disappointing. And as Harpen fans, we've had a disappointing start to the season. Leinster as well, a lot more defeats than we're used to, a lot more defeats than any fans would want. But I think there were positives coming out of the month, and like I say, we can look forward to the Six Nations anyway, and just see what happens. Well, listen, Keno, we're going to leave it there. Many thanks for that. And if you, the viewer, have any thoughts on anything rugby related yourself, or indeed anything you'd like us to harp on in future, please leave your comments below. And sure, while you're at it, be sure to like, share, and subscribe as well.